Congratulations, you're dead.
Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Congratulations, You're Dead. This episode I recorded before my brother left to go overseas to move there permanently. It's taken me a while to get to this one. Life kind of happened, and the editing came slow, got sick, had to have a show coming up, which is wrapping up soon, hopefully, so I'll be able to do this a bit more. So it was recorded a while ago. Hearing back to it was very nice. Editing it again was very nice to hear it all. And sorry there was a pause in between the last one and this one. It was unintentional, but as I mentioned, unfortunately there may be another kind of gap in between this one and the next one. The next one I still have to record, and again that show's taking a bit of time and life just kind of happened, but it won't be a longer pause as that year gap, hopefully. It should be probably a month, if not a little bit more. Anyway, enjoy this episode, and thanks again for listening. And today we have my brother. He's a fantastic person. There's a lot more I can say, but I won't. Pablo Romero, how you going?
Good, how you going?
Yeah, good. How's things been? You're getting ready to take a big trip. How's the preparation going?
Yeah, all the preparations are going good now. It's been a difficult road.
Yeah, that's
get
true.
Everything organised and sorted. But I'm in my last days now in Australia, so I'm looking forward to the new adventure that I'm about to partake on.
Good, that's good. And so you've been planning for a while, and there was a lot of we've all been, well, not everyone, but I've been overseas, you've been overseas, but this is different. Like you had to have a big container and all that stuff. How was the difference of planning to go full time rather than going for a month or 2 months?
Yeah, it's a lot longer planning, and then sometimes it felt like we would take one step forward and 2 steps back, because then we'd get held up with paperwork or get some new spin on something that we didn't know. So it's been a bit complicated, but worth it.
And is it different? I imagine there'd be different rules, right? Like getting a tourist visa, for example, rather than a moving. I don't know if it's a moving visa or a living visa, or
I had to get basically my citizenship for the country I'm going to.
Yeah.
So then I wouldn't have to have problems or or have visas. So now if I'm a dual citizen, so Australia and of Uruguay, so yeah.
And now that everything's, like you said, your last week, more or less, a few days.
Yeah.
How do you feel? You relaxed? Nervous?
Yeah, I'm basically, I want to get there.
Yeah,
it's enough. Like I'm 9 months pregnant, man. I just get it out of here,
That's fair. And do you feel like when you get there, it'll be a sense of finally, or because it's been a while coming.
Yeah, it's been over a year that we've decided that's what we wanted to do. So, but I'm happy and I'm excited, and I think it'll be a good thing, different lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. So. One thing I wanted to bring up before we get started.
Yeah.
I think I've never asked you, but I've heard stories that when you were younger, you wanted to be a truck driver.
Yeah.
Why? How come? Just because?
I always had, from a young kid, I always had a thing for cars and for the noises the cars made. And I used to love the noise of the trucks, like when they're going downhill and they gear down, that real deep exhaust note. So I was always attracted to that.
Oh, fair enough. And how come you didn't go forward with it? Grew out of it, or?
Well, no, but when I had my first kid at
18.
Yeah, 18. I was like, I got to sort out my life, and
fair enough.
And to get a truck license back then, you sort of had to have different licenses to build up to get your.
Oh, okay. So
you still have to now.
Yeah, but, it wasn't a one and done situation.
No.
Yeah.
So I got into carpentry instead and just started an apprenticeship, and off I went.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, the thing is, so you're getting ready to go on your trip, but unfortunately, you're not going to make it because I have some news for you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you've died.
Okay.
I've never had someone laugh
I've
at
been
their own
close. I've been close a few times, but never did.
How did you die?
Probably speeding or doing something reckless in a car.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, that tracks. I don't think we really ever talked about it. Maybe we have a little bit. But do you believe in an afterlife? I know you're not really religious per se, although you did go to a Catholic school.
I did go to a Catholic school, and they got all that out of me.
They did the opposite of what their intention is.
So I'm pretty much an atheist. I believe in what I see, what I touch,
That's fair.
kind of thing. So the afterlife for me is a hole in the ground, or feeling the flames of my cremation. If I go that route, I don't really believe in the afterlife.
Do you have a route that you would go in? Like if you had to do your will or whatever, like would you prefer to be buried or cremated?
Yeah, I'm going to hell anyway, so I might as well. I think I'd probably go just the cremation way, and maybe get some of my ashes scattered on a racetrack somewhere, and the rest in the ocean.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a racetrack in? Sorry.
No, I don't have a racetrack in mind.
Yeah.
But I think the ocean's sort of freedom, You can just float around all over the world.
Become fish shit.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
No. That's most people's thing, which is good. I agree with you. The ocean's freedom in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I've always sort of been like a free kind of spirit, I've always wanted to travel the world, and
that's true.
I've worked all over Australia, and so I think that's the way to go for me.
That's the way. So about 20% racetrack, 80%.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
All right. So you go to an afterlife, because there is an afterlife in this universe.
Yeah.
You go to the afterlife and you find someone meeting you. I won't say the pearly gates, because I don't think they'd be pearly. They'd probably be checkered flagged or something. Who would you? Anyone like fictional, real life celebrity, someone you knew? Who would you have meet you at these gates?
I think I met in life. I met my grandfather on my father's side and my grandmother on my mother's side, but I didn't meet the other two grandparents. So I think if there were an afterlife and I were to go somewhere and someone was waiting for me, I think it'd be cool if my 4 grandparents were waiting for me.
Nice. That's cool.
I learned a lot from them, so from the ones that I met, obviously.
And I mean, it's not a part of the questions that I have, but if you had a question each for the ones that you never met, what would you ask if you had a question for them? We can come back to it if you want to think about it.
I guess it's the eternal question, Were you there watching,
Oh, nice. I didn't even think about that. That's a good question. That's, And do you hope probably hope they would be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I hope that the grandparents that I did know were there watching, not over me, but watching
your life unfold.
Watching us grow up and whatnot.
That's cool. Wow, I didn't, wow, that's a good one.
That's deep, bro.
That is deep. So you get the 4 grandparents.
Yep.
And they start asking you, strangely for some reason, they start asking you about the movies that you've seen in your life.
Yep.
And the first question they ask you is, what is a movie you wish you could watch for the first time again to get the feelings you did that first time?
Can I have 2?
Sure.
Okay. One of them that sort of influenced my teenage years was Blood In, Blood Out.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
That's fucking top notch.
And another one which is on a similar sort of plane would be a movie that's not very well known. It's called American Me.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, but I think I've heard of it.
It's a pretty powerful movie.
Yeah, what's it about?
Well, it's about teenagers and, they get up to no good and they end up in jail as juveniles, and they transition into jail.
Okay, yeah.
But they actually, run like a gang inside the jail.
Oh, wow.
And what happens outside, and, different characters going in and out of jail and, trying to live outside in the normal world, but always going back kind of to crime and, but it's an interesting.
Is it a kind of look at the American kind of prison system?
No, it's well, in a way, I guess you could say, but it's more like they're like Mexican kids,
Yeah.
and like they're gangsters or whatever, and how the things that they have to continue to do crime in jail,
Okay.
and strategies to help their families outside, and it's all based around crime and how it's just like a cycle,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I believe I've heard of it, but I remember the title, but I've never heard of the plot.
Like I said, it's not a very well known movie. It's one of those
kind of find it somewhat like in a video store one day and be like,
yeah, that's the one.
So they also want to know, as they're showing you around the afterlife, what's a movie that people usually hate, is a general consensus, but you actually quite like, you love it even.
Okay. Going back to my teenage years, a movie that a lot of kids my age or Australian kids, white, Caucasian kids, didn't really get was a movie called The Outsiders.
Okay.
It was like, obviously, there's a bunch of kids' friends that were sort of outside of the norm.
Uh-huh.
They used to call them greasers, but for us, we were like the wogs.
Gotcha.
So I kind of could relate to it.
Okay. That's good, but not a lot of people liked it, I guess.
No, because they couldn't
relate.
Yeah, they couldn't relate, sort of, to being like a minority.
Okay, yeah. That's fair. And so when was the first time you saw that? What did you did you like watch it the first time but relate to it?
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah, like, like some of the characters, were, sort of similar situations as we were when we were in high school, and, where the ethnic kids were sort of, like I said, like the minority.
Yeah.
And, so it kind of struck a chord with me.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so to step away from the movies for a moment, do you believe in alternate realities or alternate universes, if you will?
It's kind of hard for me to think that there's like a different universe. I mean, if you think about it, it'd be good, because maybe, who knows, maybe my version in another universe would do better, or maybe worse.
Maybe worse, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I suppose the way, like, I was brought up, like our old man and stuff, it sort of wasn't.
It wasn't something he kind of cottoned to, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. But if there was one, would you prefer it to be something completely, like an alternate universe that's completely different to this one, or do you think it'd be something like kind of in parallel to this one, and then like the decisions you make kind of break off and create different universes in a way like that?
I reckon it'd be cool if it was something like Avatar, like the Avatar world,
Yeah, okay.
Like nature and like beginning of time type of shit.
Okay, yeah.
That'd be good.
That'd be awesome. Okay, so you actually go to an alternate universe.
Okay.
And the alternate universe version of yourself asks you, what's a character that you see yourself in any movie?
Again, going sort of back to my younger days, I think there's a movie, it's called Stand and Deliver.
Okay.
There's a character there, which is played by Lou Diamond Phillips.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of used to relate like to him, like, because maybe if someone took the time when I was at school, or as a young teenager, took the time to guide me and help me, then maybe I would have gotten on the straight and narrow quicker than what I did.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have made the mistakes as bad as what I made. You know what I mean? But I mean, making mistakes is part of life. But it's like a teacher or something, like to take an interest and not just say,
take you under your wing or whatever.
Ass,
Yeah, like take you under your wing and stuff.
Yeah.
That,
I kind of relate with that.
Yeah. Was there a moment, like, not to hang on that too much, and you don't have to answer it obviously, but was there a moment where you kind of went, like, as you mentioned, going on the straight and narrow, was there a moment where you were like, oh fuck, I better
straighten up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was sort of contemplating and thinking about that sort of thing when my first daughter was born.
Yeah.
But then, like, when my second daughter was born, like 14 months later, I knew I had to do something or I'd be in jail or maybe not even here.
Yeah, worse,
so, yeah. So like I stopped drinking and I stopped doing a lot of dumb shit that I was doing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tried to I straightened up a fair bit.
Yeah.
You know, not as straight as an arrow, but
No.
enough not to get me into trouble.
Yeah, like you're not gonna. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, you won't go to jail or anything like that, which is probably smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you go back to the afterlife.
Yeah.
And the grandparents. I'm still curious about your movie interest for some weird reason.
Yeah.
They ask you.
Maybe my grandma was a movie buff.
Yeah, maybe, you never know. Cinephile.
Yeah.
And she says they ask you, what's a movie that's critically acclaimed, not necessarily your favorite, but that you think is the best movie that you've seen, but not necessarily your most favorite movie.
I think one of the best movies that I've seen, which made me think a lot about life and people and, you know, social aspects and whatnot. It's a movie called Traffic.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar as well. That's not the one with... No, I'm thinking of Taxi with Robert De Niro.
No, Traffic, it's about... There's like, I don't know, I think it's 5 different sort of stories, but they all intersect.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I do like movies like that.
Yeah, it's... I think it came out maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s, something like that.
Okay.
I think Brendan Fraser's in it, I think.
Oh, wow.
From memory.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple at the time that were very similar, but I think that one was the best one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that kind of like made you think of like people and stuff in a different way, or
well, how people are perceived by if they have money, if they live in a shit area.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Fair
There's
enough.
a lot of good people that don't have opportunities and live in bad areas. So the stereotype is just because you're from there, you're shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or wealthy people who are garbage.
Yeah.
But they're wealthy.
But they're wealthy. Yeah. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the scariest moment in a movie that you can remember seeing?
I watched both of them when I was quite small, maybe 7 or 8 years old, around there.
Fair enough.
Scared the living shit out of me, and I don't think I've ever watched them again.
Yeah.
One was Poltergeist, the original.
Shit. Yeah, fair enough.
And the other one was The Evil Dead.
Oh, Evil Dead's great. You've never seen
but
it since. Yeah,
but when you're 7 years old, you crap yourself, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've seen like 2, 3, and I've seen like the second Poltergeist, and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But like
when you're 7,
a kid,
right? Yeah, that's terrifying. I can see how Evil Dead would be scary to a child.
Yeah.
I saw it when I was older, so it was funny to me.
Yeah.
And then like the second one was funny, and then Army of Darkness was just ridiculous.
Is the second one where he chops his hand off and his hand crawls around? Yeah. When I saw it, I was like, "This is garbage. Like, what the fuck?"
Did you watch the third one?
No,
Army
I've
of
never
Darkness?
watched the third one.
So he goes back in time. He's in the Middle Ages.
Oh, okay.
It's so dumb. It's
Yeah,
so
right.
stupid. But it's great. But it's stupid.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I know like there are much scarier movies nowadays.
Oh, but Poltergeist was
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, but yeah, when you're,
That
I
in
think
The
it came out
Exorcist.
in the really early 80s. So I was a kid.
Real young, yeah.
And we used to get sent, like when they used to put them on TV, the old movies, like after 8:30, we'd get sent to bed.
Yeah.
But you'd sort of, sneak out of bed and look through your door down, and you could see the TV, and we watched watched it. My parents were
Shut
probably
yourself.
watching. I shit myself. Yeah.
Did they find out you were watching it?
No, I don't think so. But I slept. I don't know. I must have slept, in my parents' room for the next 3 or 4 days.
And
at
they couldn't
least.
figure out why. What's the first movie you remember seeing?
E.T. and Beverly Hills Cop. They're the first movies I ever saw at the cinema.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that I remember.
Yeah. They're good movies.
Yeah. So E.T. was like, a kid's movie.
Yeah.
And Beverly Hills Cop.
Well, that was like E.T. was kind of scary for a child too.
Oh, no, I didn't.
No, you didn't find it scary?
No, I didn't find
Okay.
it scary. Yeah.
So you went to the movies to watch Beverly Hills Cop as a kid.
Yeah.
Isn't that an R-rated movie?
It was, yeah, but the good thing about having migrant grandparents is they couldn't speak English, so when we went to buy the tickets, went to George Street in the city, and the lady at the counter explained to my grandma that it was an R-rated movie. You know, and I was just like saying to my grandma in Spanish, you know, just say yes, you know. So my grandma said yes, like that she was giving me permission.
Yeah. Okay, so she would need a permission.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. And did she realize what it was when, like?
I mean, the movie wasn't that bad. It was just the vocabulary back then.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, there's a lot.
He goes to the Playboy Mansion, doesn't he? Or is that the second one?
No, I think that's the second one.
Oh, okay.
The first one's just like action, you know,
action and stuff,
like
and swearing and stuff.
But you know, a lot of F-bombs like in the movies. Like,
yeah.
Back then, that was like one of the highest movies with swearing.
With swearing in it, yeah. Oh man, and you know they're making a new one.
Are they?
Yeah. It's like the return of Axel Foley or something like that.
Oh right, wow.
But I mean, he's been doing good stuff. Like, do you ever watch his Dolomite movie?
No.
You gotta. It's great. Like, you know who Dolomite is?
No.
You know the blaxploitation films from back in the day.
Yeah.
So, Dolomite was one of those guys.
Oh, okay.
And he did like a kung fu movie. This guy's like out of weight
hang
and
on.
shit.
I have seen it.
Yeah.
I have seen it. He's like a pimp or something. Like he dresses up in all different outfits.
Yeah. He does like kung fu and shit, and he's like.
Yeah. That's an old movie.
Yeah, that's an old movie.
Yeah.
So they did a biography movie about this guy, Dolomite. What's his name? Rudy Raymore, something like that. And they did a biography of him, and Eddie Murphy played him. Yeah, it was fantastic. Like, it's funny, and it was really like almost true to form, and it has like Wesley Snipes in it, and it has like a bunch of people. I can't think of anyone. It has Snoop Dogg in it. Like,
okay,
because Snoop Dogg does any. I reckon if I gave Snoop Dogg enough money, he would do this.
Probably haven't got enough money though.
No, God no, I wouldn't do it. But like, he does anything. Yeah. But anyway, it's a great movie. I'd recommend it. But yeah, they're doing another Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay.
And originally his partner. What the hell was his partner's name? I can't remember. But
we didn't have a partner really. He had like the two white guys.
Yeah, the chief and the other guy.
The fat and the skinny guy.
Yeah. So the skinny guy wasn't gonna come back, but I guess they gave him enough money and he decided to come back. Yeah. I mean, look, I'll watch it. I think those movies are great, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So what's a movie that means something special to you? Either you watched it with a partner, or it was the first movie you remember watching, although that was Beverly Hills Cop, we found out. Or it's just something sentimental to you.
It's quite a weird one because it's not sentimental, but it holds a sentimental value.
Yeah.
It's Brendan Lee's The Crow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I never would have guessed that. Lacey loves The Crow.
Okay, but the reason that it holds value to me is because that was when my first daughter was born, or just before she was born.
Yeah.
And that was the first movie that my ex-wife, myself, and my daughter went to see, and she was a baby.
Wow.
Yeah. She slept through most of the movie.
Yeah.
She cried in one section where it was like a big explosion.
Oh, would have woken her up.
Yeah. And she settled back down. So that movie always has
cool.
like an important part in my life.
That's awesome. Yeah. I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, you learn new things. That's cool. I never would have guessed The Crow in a million years.
Yeah.
That's good. Have you seen it since?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. I saw the second one. They made a second version.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, they made a few of them.
Yeah. But it wasn't it's not as good as the original.
No, none of them. They've made like 4 of them, and they all get progressively worse.
Yeah.
And then the last
lower
one's
budget.
Yeah.
Like the budget goes down on them.
Exactly. And the last one's just horrible.
Yeah.
But they're apparently remaking it with Jason Momoa. Oh,
really?
I think that was the news for a while, and then I think that they've changed. I think he's out of it. I think the director's gone. But I think they're bringing it up with somebody else.
Right. Okay.
I think they've been trying to reboot it forever because it made heaps of money. Whether it's because Brendan Lee passed away or whatever, but it made heaps of money.
Okay.
Especially for like an a small budget film like that. Yeah. So what's a movie everyone has seen, but you haven't at this point? You don't see why you should, or like you're just kind of ashamed that you just don't want to do it.
It's not that I don't want to do it. I wouldn't waste my 2 hours of my life watching the Titanic or the Notebook.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, Titanic's 3 hours.
Is that? Well, that's even worse.
That's even worse. It was. I remember when it came out, everyone was like, "It's 3 hours." And people were like, "What the?" But yeah, okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't waste my time on The Notebook. I've seen it. It's shit. So with Titanic, is it just you don't want to? At this point, it's like so many people. It's got such a.
I just
thing
always
behind
thought it was so much fucking hype.
Yeah.
That they made this, whether it was, true or not, what they depicted in the movie. But they made this, tragic love story and all this shit about, this massive, disaster.
Yeah,
all these people died, and
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And I never just, so I thought, yeah, fair enough. Maybe their story was important, but how many other families lost everything?
Everything, yeah.
Children and all that, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I never got into it.
What do you think about the Titanic itself? Not to change the subject, but like, do you think like, if you could have been on the ship not knowing what would have happened, would you have done it? Like, I think it was a grand ship, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that people with money, that was like the place to be at the time.
Yeah.
There's a whole conspiracy about that, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, it's about the Rockefeller, like the ancient Rockefellers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy who he owned most of the loans in New York.
Okay.
Right, and he was on the ship. So the Rockefellers, they wanted to make loans part of the banks, but he owned that section of whatever it was. Right?
Yeah.
And apparently they reckon that they set up the Titanic to sink because it was an unsinkable
Yeah,
ship.
that was the thing.
To
Yeah.
kill that motherfucker, so then they could get all the loans.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The
I didn't know
Rockefellers
that.
I can't remember the name now. It's escaped me, the other name.
I did hear there was some, like, obviously conspiracies, because, like, yeah, it's supposed to be an unsinkable ship, and everyone touted, and then it hit an iceberg and it shit the bed.
Yeah.
And I've heard, like, the way it snaps in half is kind of weird. Like, I've heard that, like, I can't really remember, but the way it snaps in half and comes down, it shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I can't really remember, like, the whole thing. I read about it ages ago.
So, I mean, they reckon that the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, that's the ones.
Oh, okay.
That they paid the company that was building it.
I think it was White Star or something like that. To not build it properly.
Yeah, to stuff something up in it.
Okay.
And basically, it was to kill that one dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
he was like apart from them, this other guy, I don't know his name. I can't remember his name. He was like one of the richest men in the US. So they wanted what he had. So then they made the banks start doing mortgages and loans and stuff.
Oh,
and then they started making all that money.
Instead of just this one guy owning all it. Wow, damn. Yeah, I would believe something like that for sure, because like it's like no one, like especially the banks wouldn't want one guy to have all that.
Yeah. Whether it's true or not, I don't know.
But that's conspiracies for you, I guess. Yeah. But like the thing that gets me is like they couldn't have planted the iceberg. But I also heard that the lookout in the crow's nest would have seen that iceberg with enough time to swerve it.
But apparently it wasn't that big, the iceberg, even.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
Weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, that's it.
So they're ending the tour of the afterlife with the grandparents, and they say to you, every month we have everyone picks a movie that they want to watch, and they ask you, what's the one movie you want to bring with you to the afterlife, which doesn't have to be from the list at all so far if you don't want it to.
That's a hard one to narrow it down to one. I guess maybe I'd pick a few, and then if they're already there, then I'd just discard that one. But it would probably be Traffic.
Okay. Yeah.
Heat.
Oh, that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah. So those two, or Donnie Brasco, is another possibility.
Is that the one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No. Al Pacino.
Al Pacino and Mark Wahlberg. Is it?
No. You're thinking about Departed.
Yeah, it's Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
That's a good movie too.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I always get confused between Donnie Brasco and Donnie Darko, which is the one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, Donnie Darko is a weird shit movie.
I hate that movie.
Or possibly Goodfellas.
That's not. Yeah. I've never finished Goodfellas. I gotta finish it.
Oh, really? Yeah, you gotta finish it.
You know, I didn't know Ray Liotta was dead.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And like, Andre told me, he's like, Ray Liotta's dead. I was like, what? Because we were talking about Goodfellas. I couldn't believe it. It was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think he was halfway through making a series or something.
Maybe, yeah.
And it kind of fucked up all the production because obviously.
Well,
died.
yeah. Okay. Well, all right. They're good movies. I'll let you have those three.
Any sort of mobster type movie. Obviously, you can't go past like the Godfather series.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like Scarface. But Scarface, man, I've watched it so many times.
Yeah.
I think I'd kill myself again in the afterlife if I took that.
You have to watch it again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations on being dead.
Okay, thanks.
But good luck on your trip and everything that happens. We'll miss you dearly, but you know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for being a part of the podcast.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Maybe when I come back, I'll do another one.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll resurrect you.
Thanks.
It's so good to be dead, just lying around.